Ki. Our salutation goes to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, who is the son of Vasudeva, who is the destroyer of the demon Kamsa and Chanura, and the delight of Mother Jashoda, and the world teacher. We salute him again and again. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Today is an auspicious day. Auspicious day is today is actually
Yes.
Sri Krishna's real birthday.
Yeah. I listened to your puja, Swamiji, in San
Oh.
Diego. Very nice.
Uh,
Did it start at 11 o'clock? This is coming I through there. Or it started 10 o'clock?
yes.
10 o'clock? I missed an hour. I'm through at 11 o'clock. To the very end. I listened to it. Yeah.
Yes. So it was really today, actually, we celebrated our Krishna's birthday in our San Diego Center on Sunday, this Sunday, being close to this Janmashtami. Real birthday is today. So it is a blessed day, and we can think of him, his contribution, immense contribution in this in the spiritual arena, the organizing the whole movement of Vedanta, the four yogas, establishing righteousness, dharma, and India survived for thousands of years with this Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. What a maddening name, Krishna. And how purifying is that personality. Thinking of him, people get purified by his name only. There's so much power. And Ramakrishna said, he who was Rama, who was Krishna, he was Ramakrishna in this physical, in this age. So this is a great thing to think about, and we should make our life blessed. And now the day we are also good that we are reading today Narada's Way of Divine Love, the Bhakti Sutras. So we are on page 40 of this book, Narada's Way of Divine Love, Swami Prabhupada, and that is the verse number 7. So just as we do every day to think about so that it ingrains in your mind that what we have read. We have read the very first verse of the Narada Sutra, which tells the Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now we are going to talk of expounding what is called divine love. And the second verse we read that divine love is Sa, that divine love is Tvasmin Parama Prema Rupa, is of the nature of supreme devotion for this. This means God with Saguna or Nirguna, Sakara or Nirakara of any tradition, any place. This is universal. That's why this bhakti is universal. It does not belong to only India, only any who loves God in whatever way. Devotion is the extreme devotion, Parama Prema. And not only that, this devotion is of the nature of Amrita Rupa, of the nature of nectar. That means one who can drink this bhakti, devotion, who is submerged in this devotion. What happens to that person? That he becomes totally nectar-like, immortal. And what one gets this immortal bliss, what happens? What happens to that person? Why we should strive for this devotion? He says, then yang labdva puman siddha bhavati, attaining which the person who is practicing devotion, he becomes siddha, perfected, fulfilled, attained, and he becomes amrito bhavati, immortal. He becomes tripto bhavati, perfectly satisfied. That means there is no sense of incompleteness in that person. gaining which man realizes perfection, divinity, and becomes thoroughly contented. And then also he said, that prapyo, fifth verse, nakinchit banchati. There does not remain any other desire to get any more. After attaining that bhakti, that intense, rigorous love for God, he has no craving that I'll have to get something this or something that more. Janglabdva, prapyo na kinchit banchati no shuchati. Any loss, monetary loss, physical loss, death, bereavement, there is no shoka, no grieving, and no desti. There is no feeling of enmity with anyone because he sees that divine love is so saturating, does not find anyone enemy to person. Na ramate, na utsahi, neither he becomes rejoices over anything. Ramate means I got this and I'm happy. Whatever is our hidden desire, if I get by any means, someone brings it or I get it, I feel I am very excited, but I am very happy. He does not feel excited for anything. Neither na ramate na utsahi bhavati. He becomes excited or energized to do anything. I'll do this one. Oh, I'll get it. I'll establish. That's why Ramakrishna said to Suren, will you ask God some schools, colleges, hospitals? So that means you'd have no excitement for anything comes in life like a Jivan Mukta, like a Brahmagyani. How they live? Whatever comes, be. Whatever comes as a duty, you do. And done. Happy. Nothing to do. Think of God. Because even not to think, God will think of you because you are saturated with God. So that state will happen. And we have read the verse number 6, Jajgatva Mattu Bhavati. Attaining that love, one becomes like a absorbed and intoxicated, as a drunk person becomes absorbed, intoxicated. Stabdho Bhavati, sometimes he becomes mute, like a piece of stone or love. Atma Ramo Bhavati, he becomes totally saturated in his own self. Enjoy the bliss within. It does not need anything else. And Brahmagyani does not need anyone's assistance or anyone's presence. They are so full in themselves, the real self. Now, today we are on page 40 and we are going to read that bhakti is the renunciation. The chapter is called Renunciation and Self Surrender. This bhakti is some special bhakti. What type of bhakti is this? Is it sana kamaya mana nirodha rupatvat? Sa means this bhakti. Na kamaya mana. It is not like the nature of lust, kamana. Because it does not increase. This love is such, it is fulfilling, so you don't have any craving for any other desire to fulfill. Nothing can satisfy you because you have gained the highest. If you attain that bhakti, they don't care for anything. Even the richest gold and weapon and jewel, meaningless to that person. So it is like the philosopher's stone uh, kept by the holy man, Sri Chaitanya's disciple. He kept his philosopher's stone in the sandy bed of the ocean, meaninglessly somewhere thrown. And the man knew that there is a philosopher's stone, where can I get? And he was a mad person, kappa, kuje, pere, poroso, patar. The kappa, we are all searching for a philosopher's stone which can make me rich, which I touch and I become. And real philosopher's stone is the touch of the holiness, which can transform ordinary life into gold, life of gold and jewel. So bhakti is not that to fulfill any other desire. Na kamaya mana. That means that bhakti described as parampara, param prema rupa in the Sutra 1, verse number 1. No kamaya mana is not of the nature of lust. Because it has lust is always incomplete. If satisfy, again you are become lustful. But this is not of the nature, it is satisfying. As much as that devotion is one gets into it, so much peace and satisfaction. So that's why it is not of the nature comparing, because people find joy in fulfilling their tendencies, lower tendencies, these lustful ideas, but it is not, you cannot categorize it in that form. No, because it is nirodha rupatva, because this being of the form of renunciation, its nature is nirodha. Nirodha means just fulfilling renunciation. It is not a grabbing thing, it is I don't care for that. It's giving up. Normally, whenever one is driven by the desire, he wants to grab it. He wants to grab it in such a way that I won't leave it. It's like I always give the example of glue. I hold it and I won't let you. So that is called the love. That brings us down. But this gives us detachment. I don't care for anything. Who can do that? When one gets the highest. When you get the $1 billion, then you don't care for million. But you are a poor guy, you get $1,000, then you are happy because I am a poor guy, even for penny I am seeking. We are all searching for penny. But this bhakti is attaining that endless, that much of treasure and truth that you don't need anything anymore. So it is of the nature of nirodha, means renunciation. So it is of the nature of cessation of all desire. In the Raja Yoga it says, what is samadhi? It's a nirodha, chitta vritti nirodha. Your ripples of the mind, chitta vritti, will be subsided, because there is uh, no more ripple in the mind. Ripple means jumping of the mind. I want this, I want this, I want this. We are all কিপ তুমি এখানে বসো না, মুখটা দেখতে পারি, ওইদিকে এরকম করে আমার এরকম করতে, সবাই এদিকে, ওইটাতে বসো। So it will be like not craving, and it is not like ordinary object of desire, which actually, even if you get it, you feel dissatisfied, you want more and more. It is obsession upon desire. It is such a fulfillment that it seizes in your mind to perfectly, mind becomes calm, no ripple, no jumping. Nirodha rupa. So this is the verse. Bhakti, it has been translated here in the Swami Prabhuvanandaji has translated this, that bhakti cannot be used to fulfill any desire, being itself the check up to all desire. If you get bhakti, it will check other desire to come. You grow in love for God, you feel distaste for money. You grow in love for God, then you don't feel like dressing you, putting makeup and going to cheek lip, chin lip, this, that, whatever makes people happy. No desire comes. That's why they become like a monk. That's a renunciation. Look at that, all the devotees. What is their position? They don't care where they live. Just something to eat, whatever comes. It is nothing can bind them, because they are not dragged or pulled into any direction. That bhakti is already giving that. You get something. That's what I was saying. Jahare paiya moni, moni re je dhone hoiya dhoni. Being enriched in that treasure, Money re manona money. You don't count as money, this jewel, as any valuable thing. Give me a bit of that. Tahari Tahari khanik ami magi ami. I beg. Khanik means peace. Tahari khanik ami magi. Not with my bow down. So that is the joy, that is the peace, that is the check of all desires. That means you fall in love with God, what will happen? You will really be intoxicated in that, and it will check all the desires, all your petty desires. No desire will be able to pull you in any direction because you have got so much in you. So this is the characteristic. So it is of the nature of renunciation. See, it's a beautiful term to understand. It's a different definition. Bhakti, devotion means it is renunciation. Oh my God. Love for God means renunciation. People get frightened. Bhakti is very easy. And Bhakta is totally renounced. He does not care for anything. He does not care for the name, neither for the fame, neither for the glory, neither for wealth, neither for house, neither for anything, because it's so much fulfilling inside. They are totally detached. They become renunciate. Look at that. The example of Haridas. Look at Chaitanya Dev. Look at that, all the Mirabai. The glaring example. She was the queen, princess and queen. And she preferred to stay in Vrindavan, in the heart. Have you visited anyone in Vrindavan? There is a place where Mirabai used to live and stay. It was the heart. Now they have prepared, and after so many years, it has all been transformed. But a queen giving up everything, security of life, a woman, nothing is important. No desire, desire free. Rather, it is like the black cobra, the sea opposite way. Wealth, prosperity, money, name, fame, beauty, all these things as cobra. Try to avoid it. Try to run away from that. It's just that is the devotion. Real devotion is called, it is renunciation itself. So, in this context, bhakti means supreme and intense love for God. Yeah, of course, here bhakti we are already defined. We are only on that, only reached the seventh verse. But whenever bhakti is mentioned here, we have to remember bhakti, they will talk about two types. One is the bhakti, ultimate bhakti, real bhakti, genuine bhakti. Another bhakti is what we do. We are subsidiary bhakti. We are preparatory bhakti. Our bhakti is called preparatory bhakti. We are preparing for the real bhakti. We are going to shrine, we are bowing down. We only routine. I go and put my head down. But to whom? Do we feel here is the feet of the Lord? Huh? No. But we do it. We do no, this, no, that flower. Do you feel that really I am putting at the feet of the Lord? That's a matured bhakti. But what we do, it is nothing wrong. It will lead to that bhakti. That's a Vaidhi bhakti and para bhakti. This is the para bhakti we are talking. Supreme bhakti, the genuine bhakti, genuine love. So when there arises in the heart of a devotee a maddening love for the enchantingly beloved Lord, he no longer has any desire left in him for the objects or pleasures of this universe. A maddening bhakti. That bhakti, makes me mad. Sri Ramakrishna sang that song. I don't drink ordinary drink, but I drink the name of the nectar of the mother's name, no? That makes me drunk. Intoxicating, absorbing. Even when the Vaishnava bhaktas really, when they really they forget everything. Dancing in the name of God, Huh? You have seen that when this a little segment of Satyamayananda's presentation, he took somewhere that that dancing, and you see how do people around, all those standing, maddened in love. Did they think that I have in my home there is whether there is money, I have my tension, what is COVID will do, and this and that. To forget that you will be mad in God. Everything will be useless, meaningless. It will go away. It have no place in the mind. Mind is, see, they're putting the drum on the head and dancing like that, and with the cymbal, boom, 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 running like that. You see the Sufi mystics when they sing around, absorbing, 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 absorbing. So
they
that
don't get dizzy either. They go.
They prepare the body.
yeah.
They what?
They prepare body such a way and the exact way to do it. That's why.
Well, they do that naturally. If you do that gradually, they're not doing in one day. So their practice has made them. So when a man finds God, all his desires become fulfilled in him. If you live on the bank of a mighty river, if you live on the bank of a mighty river, whose water is clean and pure, you don't dig a well to satisfy your thirst. Do you want to go to dig a well? That we do. There is a song. Ramakrishna Charana Saroje. That song there is. That it is, who is a fool that we are trying to dig a well on the bank of the Ganga. A line I'm forgetting. Nowadays I am forgetting those lines. I don't need it to remember now. Anyhow, it is not coming. So if you live on the bank of mighty river, whose water is already clear and pure, you don't dig a well to satisfy your thirst. It's already there. So you are so saturated in that joy that your all other desires are, you have no value in your life. Which people are maddened. The whole world is running for what? Money, wealth, name, fame, power, position, beauty. Beauty. What is this maddening thing is coming? Election. What is that? I and the power. See how power to get the power. If you can go into that seat, I will be the power of the whole country, and I will direct whatever. I will give this, I will give that. You will give one of them. Who are you? Everything will be given by the property of the state. It is the power of the state, power of the millions and billions of people. Huh? And I will give, I will grant this, I will do that, I will do that. I. And get it and see how much competition there. But in this love, there is no competition. You want to be intoxicated in God? Come. You want to be? Come, join. There is no jealousy. Hey, you are standing, more getting, I am getting less. No more and less. You absorb into it, and everyone can share it because it's infinite. But president cannot be two presidents. How much you can be competent? 10 presidents at a time? No. Candidate may be 10, but person will be one.
10 different countries.
10 different countries, that is a different thing. Each country we are talking about. There is no example of Brahman like that, or they. So supreme love, when one attained, it has this such uniqueness. Shankara also says this. He's talking about, we are reading a bhakti book. You will be overwhelmed if you see that's Shankara, the Vedanta Acharya. What he says, he thus describes the bliss of a God man. We are talking of a Bhakta. Bhakta is a God man. What he says, quote, the ego has disappeared. I have realized my identity with Brahman. And so all my desires have melted away. All my desires have melted away. I have risen above my ignorance and my knowledge of this seeming universe. What is this joy that I feel? Who shall I measure it? Who shall measure it? I know nothing but joy, limitless, unbounded joy. See, people, why they fight? Jnana higher, bhakti lower, bhakti higher, jnana lower, yoga is this and jnana, karma is this. If Vedanta says when ego goes away, bhakti also, bhakti is ego. Here ego has disappeared. In jnana path, thinking of your divine self, I am that, your ego is disappeared. And I have realized what? My identity. What is my identity? My identity with Brahman. This is Vedantic language. And so all my desires, as a result, so all my desires have melted away. Think it's like a butter. Butter has different shapes. With the knowledge, butter has molten and become all one. When you cook, what will happen? You give a cube of butter, 2 cubes or 3 cubes. You do all these cakes and things, no? They use much butter. That's why it becomes so tasteful. Butter. So, but the shape of the butter gets melted. Then all these shapes and differences goes away. So my ego has melted that way. And I have risen above ignorance and my knowledge of this seeming universe. The seeming universe, as I used to think, I have risen above all of them. What is the joy that I feel now? Who shall measure it? The joy, intense joy. Who shall measure how is intense that joy? I know nothing but joy, limitless joy, unbounded joy. So similarly, Bhakta says he becomes mad in joy, he becomes intoxicated in joy. The same language. Where is the difference? That's why it is an ultimate experience is the same. Ramakrishna is the testimony. He said that ultimate experience, everyone, all saints and sages of all religion, ultimate is the same. In the journey, direction, you experience difference. Here is an ancient incident from the life of Swami Vivekananda, who as a young man, he was still known as Naren. It illustrates that bhakti itself is a check to all the worldly desires. And he is mentioning that story. You all know that in the early of 1884, Narendra, the future Vivekananda, his father, Vishwanath, he passed away. And when he passed away by a heart attack, and he was a very rich guy, as we all know, when the time came to look into the financial condition after his father's passing away, Naren found that he had spending more money than he earned and left nothing but debts. That's on page 41. Now Naren set himself to find him employment with renewed energy. He got a post in the attorney's office, a post in the attorney's office. He translated some books to earn money. But these were temporary jobs. And then they brought no real security to his family, mother and brothers. So now Naren decided to go for a job in school teacher and ultimately didn't get. So he ultimately came to Ramakrishna, asked Ramakrishna to pray on his behalf that this family's monetary trouble might be overcome. Ramakrishna answered that it was for Naren himself to pray. If you need something, it is your need. You have to pray. He must forget his earlier scruples, accept the existence of Divine Mother, and pray for her help. So he said, I will pray for you, that won't do. You go, you pray. And he said, Ramakrishna said, today is Tuesday, a day specially sacred to Holy Mother, Divine Mother. Go to the temple and tonight and pray. Mother will grant you and whatever you ask for. I promise you that. I will give you everything. So what we are asking for? All other desires. Praying whatever you like means whatever you need means whatever you in worldly sense you need it. Then you know the story. At 9 o'clock, Ramakrishna sent him to the temple. As Naren was on his way there, a kind of drunkenness possessed him. Why? Bhakti is entering into him. Shraddha avivesha. As if devotion was sitting somewhere. It just entered into him as it were. From Ramakrishna's room, you imagine that he is going toward the Dakshineshwar Mother's temple, walking down. And as he was on the journey, he is feeling some type of transformation, love for something divine. He was reeling with that. Drunkenness possessed him. As a drunk person reels like that while standing or walking. Did you see drunk people do that?
Movie.
Movie, yeah. No, in Calcutta, in early days, people used to get drunk very much. And many people could have been seen in Calcutta streets. Night time, when the evening is done, they are going to tabernacle. Where is the tabernacle? They say that, and then some people are lying down in the street, on the sidewalk for a whole night. Someone holding a lamp. And mad people, they don't know what they are doing. Intoxicated and reeling. They fall down in the street. They cannot balance. And when he entered into the temple, he saw at once the Divine Mother was actually alive. Naren was overwhelmed and prostrated himself again and again before the shrine, exclaiming, Mother, grant me discrimination, grant me detachment, grant me divine knowledge and devotion. Grant me that I may see you without obstruction always. His heart was filled with peace. The universe completely disappeared. So what's the question of asking for anything? With peace from his consciousness, and Mother alone remained. See? And you know, when Naren came back and to the temple and asked Sri Ramakrishna if he had prayed for the relief of his family's demands once, Naren was taken aback. He had forgotten to do so. See? Such a crucial demand of the family needs. He came for that and he pleaded. And within short few minutes, Bhakti possessed him on the journey, and seeing Mother, saw the Divine Mother and forgot what he came to ask for. And then his heart was totally filled. And Ramakrishna asked, did you go and ask? Oh, I forgot. Are you came for that and you forgot. And go. So you know he was sent second time. And that happened the same. And then third time. So Naren obeyed. But again he became drunk with bliss, forgot his intention, and prayed only to detachment, devotion, and knowledge, as before. Then Ramakrishna said, silly boy, could not you control your say little and remember this prayer? Go back again and tell Mother what you want. This time Naren's experience was different. He did not forget the prayer. First of all, he was intoxicated, he forgot the prayer. But now, because Ramakrishna said, can't you remember? Go. So he remembered the prayer. And what happened? It came to the third time before the sign, he felt a sense of deep shame. When she stood before the Mother, he felt little ashamed. What he had been about to ask seemed miserably trivial and unworthy. It was, quote, he said later, like being graciously received by a king, then asking for a goats and pumpkins. Do you go to a millionaire, give me one piece of goat, one piece of pumpkin? That will satisfy my stomach. Hare, you reach the treasury of the king. Swami Vivekananda said, no? Marito Gondar, Lutito Bhandar. If I am to kill, I don't know what is the use of killing one mosquito. No, no, I will kill the dinosaur. No, rhinoceros. Oh, like that. Like the Gondar. Rhinoceros. I will kill the rhinoceros. That makes you are powerful. And one mosquito. What is the use of killing mosquito? One a petty thing. Kill a rhinoceros. And Luti, if I want to steal, I will steal the treasury of the king. Treasury. That means
because it's very expensive. The nose of the rhino, the skin of the rhino. If you sell any part, you get big money.
oh, that
It's
also.
very expensive.
Okay. So you kill rhino and then become rich. But I am not satisfied with petty. This
Mosquito.
one penny, 2 penny. I don't care for it. That's why Swami said, you achieve the highest. That's the devotion. So once more he asked only for detachment and devotion and knowledge again. He remembered, but when he stood before the Mother Kali, then he felt, what? She is the Rajeshwari. Is the queen of the whole universe, no? And she is the giver of everything, saturated by her everything. And I shall ask him, give me one gourd or pumpkin, the one job. I earn 100 rupees, 200 rupees. My family will be fed. How can I pay for that? So he could not. And that that means, what does it indicate? This is in fact within the experience of any spiritual aspirant. As he comes nearer to God, his desire, his heart is so filled with love and devotion that there is no room for any other desire. If you see a devotee or a monk desiring God and also looking for this, understand there is something. You have not loved God yet. You have not get a touch of God yet. As much as you get closer to God, everything becomes meaningless, worthless. Your interest is there when you are there. You have not got in love with God. Don't talk about love. It's all fuss about spirituality. The whole world is full of fuss in that way. Devotion is such an element that it will make you disinterested in anything else up to you. Most gorgeous thing will not attract you. Most wealth will be meaningless to a devotee. So, because he's not full, he's not void. It is a saturated experience of saturated joy inside. Therefore, this in fact with the experience of any spiritual aspirant, as he comes nearer to God, his heart is so filled with love. Mark it. As one becomes closer to God, his heart or her heart will fill with love and devotion that there is no room for any other desire. There is a song Ram Prasad of Ram Prasad which says that even to gain the position of an Indra, the king of gods, seems as nothing to one whom the Divine Mother has cast his gracious glance. To be Indra, you are a petty person. Indra is a petty person. Why? He wants to be the king of the heaven. It's a desire. Why you will be king of heaven? Why you want to be Indra Chandra Varuna? This God, that God, that God. Because you have attraction for that. You feel that that is better. That's why you call a person who has realized God or who is intoxicated in devotion of God, his or her is above Indra Chandra Varuna. All the gods and angels. They transcend all the angelic figures, all the godly figures, all the. So this is the point. This is a very important verse. to understand devotion or spiritual life as it is. I'll read from this book. This is a very scholarly book, of course, just for reference, because you have read already the main idea, you got it. This is the 7th verse. Yeah, this is a very, very scholarly way it is. 7th verse. I am reading from Swami Tyagishanandaji's book. What he says, that a distinctive distinction between love of God and love of the worldly objects, especially sex attraction, is stressed in this aphorism. In bhakti, the mind naturally renounces sense pleasures. In karma, it gets engrossed in them. Being therefore of any contradictory nature, bhakti cannot be equated with kama. Jaha Rama, taha nahi kama. Jaha kama, taha nahi Rama. They cannot go side by side. God and Mammon cannot go side by side together. They cannot. They are rival to each other. One comes to other have to leave. You move towards the east, west will have to be back. You cannot keep east as also west together. If you are walking. From the point of view of ancient psychology, this reason for drawing a distinction between bhakti and karma may be sufficient. But modern psychologists would not be satisfied by this apparent difference in the object of interest in the two forms of love. They demand better reason for giving spiritual experience a higher basis than man's instinctive energy which manifests as desire. A consistent attempt is made in modern times to find a sexual origin for the so-called higher experiences of saints and mystics. According to modern psychology, an expression of desire need not only imply the flow of the mind towards an external object. When a person fails to obtain satisfaction for his instinctive cravings in the real world outside, owing to social taboos, keenness of competition, and the rest, his desires take a subterranean course. Unknown to the person, they remain submerged in the unconscious levels of the mind, and with added force derives from them their suppressions by mental censorship. They seek satisfaction in the world of fantasy, accompanied by various abnormal, unhealthy mental symptoms. Many psychologists also inclined to classify the subjective experiences of spiritual intuitions of the saints and mystics along with this abnormal mental manifestation and attribute them to be the same cause, namely suppressors of fundamental instinct, especially the sexual. Their psychologists say everything is sex. Why one becomes a monk? Because they suppress, and they get mentally feel taboo. So what they will do? Okay, they renounce and go to be a monk. Freudian psychology and other things will be always saying that it is everything is origin is desire, kama. That traded the suppression of fundamental instincts, especially the sexual energy, because they suppressed it, it went into a frustration and then made it taboo in their mind. So they try to express that in the love of God or Krishna, like that. Then this theory of the sexual genesis of spiritual experience based upon the following fact. One, very often there is seen a correspondence between the setting in of the puberty in man and the experience of conversion, which is generally taken as the dawn of the spiritual sense. Two, in all religions and schools of thoughts emphasizing mystic experience, there are very strong sex taboos, and abstinence from sexual indulgences is held to be an unavoidable condition for effervescence of this mystic. Third point, the so-called higher experience of sense, it is held, can be interpreted in the terms of suppressed sex, as in the case of many forms of mental abnormalities. So many sadhus, many mystics have experienced, oh, these are all abnormalities because you have suppressed the sex. That's why it is manifesting in this way. In the writings of almost all the important mystics, sex symbolism have been used to give expression to their aspirations and realization. One of the basis of these and other factors of spiritual love and experience are explained by psychologists as a suppressed expression of sexuality, which is by common consent called kamo par excellence. So these are modern psychologists, in those who think that everything, sex is the origin of everything, they bestow this because it is suppression. Therefore, they say, experience the sex. But it is saying, yes, that is not so. It is not it is, Vedanta says, it is elevation of the sex. The same energy, when elevated in a higher level, your mind becomes pure, then it gets elevated, and then you perceive a higher realm of experiences now. But this psychologist may not agree. The following remarks may be made in way of criticism, so the responses are given here. The doctrines of correspondence between, like anyhow, we are not going to that. Do you want to read this? All this very deep counter argument against all these 4 or 5 points he has given. So let me see in one point what he says. It must be noted that continuance of the true aspirant and the repression of which psychologists are so well aware are poles asunder in their method and results. As far as result is concerned, what happens in repression is a degeneration of mind. No. One is suppressed and repressed. What happens? Its mind gets degenerated. One is sexual suppression. What happens to that person? He becomes little abnormal. And there and method of results as far as concerned, what happens in repression is a degeneration of the mind, and in spiritual experience, a higher development on it. As for method, repression is accomplished through fear, unnatural application of the force, dissimulation, and ignorant evasion of the problem. The result of it is that the sex tendencies and impressions remain submerged and manifest as fantasies accompanied by mental disorders. These are disorders, mental disorder, perverted. They make people perverted. In the case of genuine spiritual aspirant, you see the difference. Practicing continence, those who are practiced continence, sex is fearlessly and unintelligently faced and analyzed, and thus instead of being allowed to remain submerged as crude animal propensity, its energies are transformed into a higher power for the enrichment of man's psychic personality. But even this is not to be identified equated with the spiritual illumination. For what perfect continence does is only to provide the right subjective environment, a pure mind and body in which alone spiritual experience can get. By this way, when the mind becomes pure and pure and pure, then the genuine experience of spirituality will come. So he has given many. See, he is referring to, there are writers on psychologies of religion who speak of a special religious instinct. Thus, Rutgers Marshall writes in his Instinct and Reason book, religious activities, like the expression of all true instincts, seemed often to be spontaneously developed in man. The masses of mankind do not have to argue into the expression of religious feelings. And he's talking many Westerners and giving proof that this is different from that of sex suppression. It is rather elevation of the sexes. And that when it comes, pure mind and pure experiences of God, love for God will generate. So it is you have time, you can check on this book, which is the Swami Tyagishananda, published by your Madras Mount. It's a for scholars and your further reading. It is an interesting book. I read on around the pages 90 to 94, 95. So it ends on the verse on 96. It ends. So ultimately, let me read the last few words. It is only when the instincts have been purged of their natural taints by what Narada calls nirodha, restraint of or renunciation, that the mind becomes capable of grasping the higher truths regarding a mind that has thus been refined and filled with love of the highest. It is absurd to talk of compartmental instincts. All its energies have been unified into one form, and there is only one instinct in it, namely the passion for God. It is this withdrawal of the mind from the instinctive expressions, both in the objective and subjective fields, whether as flight towards its natural objects or as indulgence of wish fulfillment through depression and fantasies, then Narada indicates both the term Nirodha. That means because this Nirodha is involved in bhakti and the illumination it gives, bhakti cannot be described as of the nature of desire. Okay, so we end here.
Just read this book?
No, this is another book.
Another one. Okay.
Same verse 7, read by Swami, one of our Swami, Tyagishananda. Because he is logically proving that many people come forward to say, oh, these are all sex, it's a perverse emotions. It is not like that. It is a higher level of experience which can be understood when the mind is become pure nirodha, detached from the expression outside. So it is our.
And Vivekananda speaks of ojai.
Only 5 minutes are there, so we can go for some questions. Huh?
Vivekananda speaks of ohai, stored up and
Ojas.
ojai.
Ojas.
Only Freud who emphasized on more stupidity.
Yeah, not only that, this world, that Freudian psychologists are, many psychologists are there, but counter psychology also has come up. Any question has come anywhere? So we can.
You say like that, why do we fast on auspicious days?
So the fasting has nothing to do with what you read. Better you put questions on the subject we read, then it will be more interesting. Otherwise, I will digest. And yes, why we fast, there is a meaning behind it. We can talk about that. So that's okay. That question, we can speak a few words. When we fast, what has happened? We are controlling. Everything is controlled at the beginnings. So my mind says, I will eat. Tongue will say, I will eat. No, you can't. So you have a mastery, like exercising your mental power. You are really controlling your urge, which always directs us. I'm hungry, go and get up. I'm going there, I see one nice chocolate, boom. No, I want it.
It is painful to be hungry, Swami.
No, I'm saying, those who become obsessed by that eating, there is no control. But fasting has its benefit. You are controlling your desire. Tongue, you are trying to control. Similarly, that if you master in one control, you will be able to master other control. We are talking about the deifying the sexual energy in a higher level. So if it...
The complete question is here.
Okay, I'll check it. So that is the wherever there is this tendency, where our whole life should be conquer the lower temptations. We are like slaves. Some food I see nice, my tongue runs there. Why? Yes, I will eat good healthy food, but when I want, Not my tongue will say and I will have to run. I'm not a slave of my tongue. I'm controlling my tongue. I'm the boss. Tongue is mine. Something going in the eyes. I'll have to see. Why I'll have to see? No, I won't see. That's a control. So it is said tongue is next to two things to control. Major problem of all in the spiritual path is tongue and sex. So jite rase jitang sarvam. There is a verse. If you can control your tongue, then this is test as also tongue speaking. Both you can control. Then you can conquer your sarvam. All other tendencies you can have a mastery gradually. So that's why fasting has its own importance, but it should be regulated. It does not mean that you should be emaciated by fasting, but healthy food, good food, occasional fasting is good, necessary. Now, let me see. I'll come to you. Uh, uh, why do we fast on auspicious days? Auspicious days, we can fast any day, but it gives greater sense that in auspicious day, I will save my time of prayer, we eating time, cooking time. It's not done. Today I don't need to cook anything. I don't need to do. I'll take some cereal milk at the end of the day or some fruits and things. Or let me do more japa, more meditation. So that is the good day we select like that. Does Ma Durga like it if we fast and pray? Yeah, of course. It is Ma Durga. God does not like or dislike. Yeah, we say God will be pleased. But that is not our purpose. Purpose is that we are trying to control our senses and we are also utilizing the time of some saving time which can be done by japa, meditation, prayer. And of course, mother will be seeing that my child is fasting. Naturally, she'll be more pleased, no? If you go and ask, Ma, give me, or you say, I will not eat unless you give it. So Ma will be much more pleased. So I think that is also have a man. Lisa says the lightning of Swamiji is a bit harsh today. The lighting, acha, a big shadow on him and bright reflection on his glasses. Yes, he has put it like that. He does not see it there. Anyhow, whatever, I am not the controller, but I will tell that.
No, that's why I
Acha, edu paste. That is a
no, last part one, there is a question. No.
সামনে দেখছি দেখছি ঠিক আছে তোমার দেখতে
অনেক তলাতে লাস্টে
ঠিক আছে I'll take. We should try to control or we should in critical crisis how to pray God. Yeah, how to pray God. Who can teach anyone? We all know. We do not control, we are conflicted by guilt and shame. If we do not control, we are conflicted by guilt and shame. Not for that. We have to be, this question is, if we do not control, we are conflicted by guilt and shame. No, that is not to feel shame or guilt, but we should be very scientific. What we are saying is that if I can control, then I can raise this energy in a higher direction. And if we can raise it in a higher direction, our spiritual awakening will be easy. It is not that guilt. Guilt is a negative thing. If you have desire, fulfill that desire and see that desire does not make you happy. That you should not be shameful for that, but you should learn out of that experience. So if you can get greater joy by devotional practice or by mastering that tendency, that is should be the purpose. But in a negative thing is not very much encouraged in Vedanta. Rather, Vedanta says if you need that experience, go and have it, and then say, "Hey, I did it. I know it is not giving me the perfect peace and solace." And you practice the other way, control and direct towards God. Sing in the name of God and see how you feel your mind gets elevated, how peace comes for a lingering time. So I think that is our idea. It is not going up. It gets
No more question.
no more question. Thank you. Oh, Kalpana says I too had problem login.
That is maybe hard.
I do not know.
Something.
Huh?
Hard net connection is okay. I don't know.
Anyhow, okay, thank you all. So we end here, and then we'll if you have time, please come again at 7:30. We'll meet again in our class for what? Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. Acha, by the way, oh, your question I forgot. Huh? Tell me, what is it?
No, what I was saying that some Indians, lucky ones I should say, that we grew up with Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all those spiritual concepts and the control and higher values. So we know that it is not a matter of you suppress so you become perverted or things like that. You suppress because you have the heroic, the divinity in you, not animalistic, the role you have to, So it's perhaps, I'm not saying Indians are the only one or all Indians are that, So that's one thing I was saying. Other thing about the Sufi dance, there's that movie Netaji. Wonderful Sufi dance is performed there. Post the Forgotten Hero. When he goes to Afghanistan, Netaji. That's right. Wonderful Sufi dance. Just listening to it, your mind source.
And religion is same everywhere.
Yes.
If sincerity is there, yeah, we know things one way, and how to apply it that's the advantage of the people from India or any other country who have the background.
Yeah.
At least they are advanced that much.
Awareness.
Their awareness, they know that it is good, it is bad. But those who have no idea of that, they have to start little behind. They have to go through the experience and feel that it is frustrating. It does not give, it brings depression, it brings frustration. And then say where to get. And they come to know. And after knowing failures, again, the same failure position will come up. If I know anyone knows first time, they will know the truth. But to apply it in life will be always difficult. But they will have to go through that. So it is a journey towards the truth. So even if we know, sometimes it is not so easy for us to.
That's right.
Yeah. And the knowing is much advanced. At least we have known. That's a development. We see our parents, we see our environment. Everyone thinks that how they lead a pure life. So that has its own value. Where there is open sex and people are going for openly, then people have values different. But in a society where everyone is decent and they're all in a proper time, they get married, they have their own life, and they can enjoy life more. We see that ideal in our grandma, grandpa, like that. That example influences our life also.
Also, Maharaj, I have noticed, he was, Atma Rupananda was also in that trip, Bali Island. And I discussed this with Atma Rupananda there, that, those Balinese people.
And let me finish this. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishnarpanamastu. Okay, thank you all and see you next. Bolu never.
No, they are properly attired and very, very graceful and everything. But Western people,